I need to move my camera. There we go. Try to get my whole face in the screen. I may have to get a bigger screen eventually. There we go. So that popped up there. All right. So we are live. And let me tell you, you guys made it through one of the hardest weeks. The first week, I think, is one of the hardest in the class. You've got a new subject. You I know that was the reason why you came to Southern Tech is you said, please, 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 if I will only go here if I can have computer concepts online, that is the absolute only reason. I know that's what y'all all said. Yeah, that was absolutely the only reason. And they said, but we've got all these fun things like welding, electric. No, keep those away. I just want that class. I know this isn't the one that you chose over everything. So you had a difficult uh, subject to jump right into. Then you had the online factor. And I know you said, I'm a hands-on learner. Whatever you do, stick me behind a computer screen. Right. So then you did that. And then you have a new instructor that, if you remember back in the 80s, there was a wonderful show called Max Headroom where it was a digital screen. Yeah, there's some people know Max Headroom. Yeah. And so some memory flashbacks. Some of you are younger, and so we won't talk about that. And so I'm actually 21. I just age very poorly. And if you disagree with that, you will fail the class. All right. See how the power can quickly shift there.
They call you Benjamin Button.
There you go. I think I would take more than a button.
No, you seen the movie, right? The guy aged
Yes,
backwards.
exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I would need a very, very, very big miracle for that to happen. Uh, but you guys came through brilliantly. Okay, now did everyone finish every assignment? No. Did I think that would ever happen? No, I think I would fall on the floor. And the way I'm shaped, I would roll and roll until I rocked myself to sleep. So, no, I didn't expect that to happen. But you guys did exactly what I wanted you to do. And that is, if you didn't, you did reach out. And you were honest when you said, look, I didn't see this, or I wasn't able to because I thought I could do it on my phone, or I thought, exactly, be honest. Things happen, life happens. How many people have really messed things up before at work or someplace and you had to own up to it? I have. I simultaneously brought down 9 hospital systems and everybody had to go manual. Have you ever had to tell 400 nurses that they have to write all their orders manually and then they're going to have to key them in separately? I did. Worse than that, have you had to tell all the doctors that they're going to have to do that manually? Have you ever had to tell a doctor to do something, period? That is something in itself. But you know what? We get through it. But that's the way things are going to be on the job in general. Things mess up, you know, and we own up to it and we do it and we go forward. So, yes, if you did not get all the assignments, reach out to me, let me know. And we say, what have I missed? You're just going to have to go on. I don't go backwards. Okay. So that's the way it is. So, reach out if you didn't get those assignments in, and we'll talk about that. All right. So going forward, Mondays, you'll notice that there was an assignment out there called self-evaluation for week 1. Right? Okay, so the reason why we have this is month after month, there were students who would say, I don't know what I'm doing in class. I don't know this. I don't know that. As you go into your careers, you're going to notice that one of the big things companies are doing is they want you to evaluate yourself for your raises. How are you doing? They make you rate yourself. And then they have your coworkers evaluate yourself. So, and then your boss will evaluate you and they compare them. So you can't just give yourself a glowing review and say, "Oh, I'm this and this and this," and then your coworkers go, "Yeah, you're not all that." They want you to be honest, you know? If there's things that you can improve on, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this isn't quite like that, but what I want you to do is I want you to go back and look at those assignments. What did you score on those? Okay. And it's not to make you feel bad about this or that, but if you miss something, you're going to catch it. You're going to see that. So that's part of that. The other thing is, if you didn't get something, let's find out why. And I'm looking at those. Is there too much going on? Okay. Is it because these assignments are too much? Okay. Is there too much confusion? Okay. Now we have to have so many assignments, period. We have to have evaluations, period. We can't take those all out. I had somebody who say we should just be able to watch a video each week and be evaluated and watching that. Okay, I did not fall off of a turnip truck. Everybody knows you could start a video and walk away. All right. Okay. You know, I was telling somebody the other day when I had a difficult class at one of the colleges I went to, me and my best friend Lisa at the time, we took turns sleeping in the class. We sat in the back. One day I would sleep, one day she would sleep, and we would take notes and we had to exchange notes. We did. You could do that back then. You know, our class, we actually had 85 students in a classroom, sat stadium style. It was horrible, but it was great for sleeping. It had a plus side, but we were also in that class for 3 hours. So, there's pluses and minuses. So, you know, what I want you to do is realize there are requirements here we have to follow. So I try to give you enough work to meet the requirements without overburdening you. So that's part of what that is. So I also want you to look at what you've accomplished. You've already accomplished quite a bit. I read your discussions and I've added into them during them on AI, and I'm impressed because you guys are looking forward. AI is not going to replace you. You know, you always hear AI, AI. AI is going to be a tool in your toolbox. It's there to enhance. And there was some incredible insight that some of you put in there. One of the things that somebody put in there. AI learns from its past experiences. It doesn't learn projectively. It doesn't look out going forward. We can. You can think ahead. It cannot. It has to try and then learn from that. It has to try. We can think ahead, and it can't think about things we don't tell it. We are always in the equation. So think about that. And part of the reason why I'm telling you this is because that's what I want you to think as we go into Word. Okay. And that is Word is something that you're going to have in your toolbox, something that you'll be able to use and utilize when you're doing your resumes, when you have to request time off, when you have to accept a job, when you have to turn down a job, things like that. You can use Word. Okay. When you accept a job and you have a vacation that's coming up, and part of the reason when you accept that job, you say, I can start at this date, but 2 months from now, I already have a vacation scheduled. Will that be a problem? And they say no. Of course, they're going to say no. And then what happens when you get to 2 months from now? It's a problem, right? So you write that down and you get that signature at the beginning and you hold on to that. So that's where things like Word come into place. I always tell people once you hang up that phone, you cease to exist. You write things. Every time you talk to somebody on the phone, you send them an email. Per our conversation, boom, 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 boom. Don't ever leave anything to a conversation. Ever, ever. Anybody ever hear of a woman named Judge Judy? Everybody's heard of Judge Judy. Yeah, get it in writing. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. I don't care if they are a friend, whatever, get it in writing. So that's why we do Word, and we're going to be doing Word this week. So you're going to learn the proper things, not the I think it's here, I think it's here, I think it's here, I think it's here. So you're going to learn the proper things. Some of you have already done some in Word, so it's going to be a little bit of a refresher. Some of you have not. Okay. Any questions about week one before we go on? Otherwise, we're going to dive right in. Okay, here we go. And if you have questions as we go throughout, raise your hand, drop in the chat box, or holler into the mic. And that's the way we will get going here. So let me do a share. I'm going to share the screen. Here we go. Let me go to this home screen. There we go. And we're going to look at it as a student. Couple things to point out is make sure you go in and check your grades. You'll see grades here. If I put in a comment, you'll see a little mark over here and you can click on that. Things that appear there, like if you put in one post in the discussion, you'll see things like, hey, you got 40 points. Don't forget to come back in and do a second post. I want you to get 100 points, okay? First post in a discussion is 40 points. That second post is worth 60. I purposely do that to make you want to go back in and do that second post. If you forget to do that second post, once it closes on Sunday, it's too late. You cannot get a discussion reopened. Other assignments, yes, but the college considers discussion participation. And like a real class, you can't call everybody back a week later and say, hey, we're going to relive this. Yeah, we don't do that. So keep track of this. Make sure grades are going in. If you have a question, you think a grade isn't wrong, call me out on it, ask me about it. I'll go over it and make sure I make mistakes like everybody else. I'm only human. And so let's drop down into our modules. Please make sure you're checking for your assignments in the modules. A couple of people got burned this week going to the to-do list, not seeing things in there, or they didn't appear in time for them to get them done. I'm not a fan of the to-do list, so please be careful there. If you're up here in the resources, if you click on past lives, Teams recording, you'll notice week one what appeared up here after the class. When we're finished with this and I've got it posted to YouTube, it will look like that. It will turn red and cleared out and you'll be able to click there. All right. So just in case you want to go back and watch one of those. Okay, if you have questions about using your Mac, Chromebook, uh, those are both in here. Had a couple people try to use phones. Phones do not work. As people found out the hard way, I'm not lying. And when I went back in, when they said that things were crashing, I checked. It said iOS for blah, blah, blah. Yes, I could see how you log in. So please save yourself the trouble. It doesn't work. Okay, so we're going to come down here to week two. Here's the self-evaluation. If you looked at it earlier, this was a PDF. People were having problems with the PDF, filling it out. So I changed it to a Word document. So if you click on that, it's a little bit easier for you to download and edit those. So just put in what your actual scores were. And if you got an extension, it's okay to put that it's a 0 here. I want you to be honest with what it is. That's what it's supposed to be. Now this part down here, it says, would you like an extension? If you completed it, you can leave these blank or you can put a no here. You don't need an extension if you completed all of week one. Okay. And then, so download that. And when you're ready to, you click the green box that says start assignment. and then you can drag your file onto this part here, or you can actually uh, just click on the part that says choose file to upload, and then you can find it in your file directory either way. So you can drag it on, or you can click the words choose a file to upload. And then once you have the file there, then click submit assignment and little confetti will fall down. All right, so that's how you do that assignment. Now, Wednesday, just like last week, you will have a discussion, and this time it's a little bit different. You still have to do 2 posts, but this one talks about it's for documents. And I've actually given some examples because we always want to know why. What am I going to use this for? Well, I'm telling you why you're going to use it for. Broken out by career, because everybody knows everybody's career is different. So, like in welding, creating job estimates, safety procedures, inspection reports, everything is documented in welding. Because when you're on a job site and you're working, you have to be documented who you are and what you're doing. Because if something goes wrong, like years ago, there was that horrible pedestrian bridge collapse down in South Florida. Okay. You know, they went back and they checked everybody's certification who welded on that, because if anybody was out of compliance, that made that individual welder personally responsible. They went after the individuals because the companies they worked for them threw those people under the bus. Companies can be like that. So that's why it's important to keep everything you have up to date. One of the people in the discussion wanted to know, can a welder be responsible for a document that gets lost, a Word document that gets lost? That's an example of where one could be lost. Always make sure you have backups of things if you're going to rely everything on electronic data. Backup, backup, backup. Keep your data safe. Just because something is electronic now or stored digitally, it does not keep it from falling out of the same requirements as paper copies. HVAC, maintenance checklists, installation guides, service agreements. You're going to have those electrical project proposals, compliance reports, troubleshooting guides, medical assistance, intake forms, appointment summaries, training materials, veterinary assistance, pet care instructions, vaccination schedules, treatment plans. Everybody will be using this in some way, shape, or form. So, what I want you to do is, how do you think that it's used and why is it important? So, I want you to think about how you would use it. Now, you don't have to go out on the internet and research. I want you to think in how would you use it? Think about ways that you can handle it and come down here and click reply, type in your response, and then once you've done that, click reply. It will appear, and then you'll see other people who put theirs in. Find another one, reply to them, boom, you've got your 100 points. That'll be your 2 responses. Some people will come in here, do one, and scram, like something bit them. Got to get away from it. Great, you got 40 points. Now you got to remember to come back. Do it while you're in there. Save time, get the points. All right? I'm all about saving you time. While you're in there, do both. Get it done. And you have till Wednesday to do it. But let me tell you, it's very quick. You can knock this one, that self-evaluation, and this one out tonight. And then you're, boom, you got time to do it. Now you've got 3 chapters this week. Okay? Now I'm going to be watching this 3rd chapter and see how you manage to do it. We used to have 2 chapters last month, but the way they split the book up, it actually goes through 3. I'm going to be watching to see how well y'all handle it. And if it gets to be too much, watch for my emails. Okay, I tell you, watch my emails, watch my texts. If I decide this is getting to be too much, I might send a text out that says, hey, forget chapter 3. But if you're not watching for those texts, you're going to miss it. All right? So pay attention to my texts if I'm guiding y'all. Okay? So you'll click on your chapter. It'll take you directly into SimNet. I've been in here, I've been working a little bit, but it works just like last week. Okay, there's 16 items in this particular one, and you just click on it and you go right in here. Now remember, the show me is the video, the guide me is the step by step, and the let me try is the one you do start to finish. The first two you do not have to do. You can do one of these or both of these, but you have to do the green one. Okay? So that's up to you. If you get in here on this green one and you say, hey, this one's too much, this let me tries too much, on the right hand side, you can jump back to either one of those. All right? You decide how you learn. That's strictly up to you. Now, I'm not going to go through each one of these because you have that under your control and that would take a lot of time to go through. I'm going to click the exit and the exit again and get out of that. Now, those chapters, you can start and stop as much as you want. As soon as you start that chapter, your grade is going to drop because you will have like 1% out of 100. So when you see your grade drop, don't panic, okay? It's going to go up as you work. I understand that, the school understands that, so don't panic. If you have questions about your grade, you can ask me at any time, all right? So that's going to get you through uh, the chapters, okay? If you feel overwhelmed about any of this, please reach out. I can't stress contacting me at any point, but don't wait until Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Because Sunday night at 10 o'clock, I got my jammies on. I got me a beverage. I'm not going to tell you what kind of beverage because that could be varied. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching something on TV, usually a very bad shark movie. This past Sunday night, I was watching Cemetery Shark about a shark attacking people in cemeteries. I like bad monster movies. And when things come in, that doesn't give me much time or options to help you. I want to be able to help you. So if you find yourself struggling midweek, say something. I have options for you. All right? Has everybody got that? I can help you out at that time. Okay? So try to get into these chapters as early as possible. And then you have a quiz. Now, I want to see how everybody does on this. This class is dynamic, meaning it can change. Watch and read those texts. If I see something going really south with this stuff, I'm going to be directing y'all as to what to do. Okay, everybody got that? Yes, yes? All right. Okay. Now, this is the one that I'm really here for here, and that's the project. You're going to be doing your first project, and it's outside of SimNet. Anybody tired of SimNet already? It aggravated them. No, y'all are good. You guys have more patience than I do. I get irritated with SimNet. Okay, so let's take a look at this project here. Okay, so sometimes you're going to find that there are things that will make your job easier. The problem is it costs money. Okay, and you go to your boss and you say, we need this, da 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 da, and they're not as keen to get it for you. So we're going to create a document. and this is what's going to be required. It's going to have a title, a vendor, an address, a phone, website. It sounds like a lot of stuff, but we are going to actually create this. Okay, so this is kind of what it's going to look like. Purchase order, vendor name, ship to. The visual is much easier to understand than the description. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. Okay, not very fancy, but what you're going to do is you're going to show me that you can work inside Word. That's the purpose, is that you can actually do this inside of Word. So there's some different ways you can do this. And so I'm going to show you one of them. But now a couple of things is I'm showing you this layout here and see these little squares here. Those are just placeholders. You're going to actually fill those in with information based on your career, okay, that you're here at Southern Tech for. So you're going to put in items that are relatable to HVAC, or you're going to put them in relatable to welding or relatable to a veterinary field. You're going to replace those items, okay? So we're going to get started. And how we do that is we're going to start off with the student portal. Okay, everybody's familiar with this. This is where you log in. Only we're not going to go into Canvas. We're going to go in here to Microsoft 365. We're going to click on that. Now, if you haven't been into it during the day, you're going to get the sign in. And your password and login is the same as when you go into Canvas. So you're going to click sign in. And if it stops you, you will put in your student ID and password like you would with Canvas. And you're going to come up with this welcome to Copilot typically. And we're going to be going into the apps. And they've put that down over here. They keep moving it as Microsoft updates. So it's down here, it says apps. And we're going to click on that. And we're going to find the one that says Word. Okay. Now, everybody has access to all the Microsoft apps free. So please go through the one on the portal because some of you have it already installed on your machines and it might be a limited time and it'll ask for money, etc. This is free to you as long as you are a student here at Southern Tech. You can use any of those Microsoft programs any way you want. All right. So we're going to start with create a blank document. Now I want to point out you need to use Word. Don't use the Apple products. Don't use Google Docs. We are learning Word in the class. You should be using Word. Okay. And the upload, when you go to submit it, it's actually going to be looking for Word extensions to make sure it's coming from there. All right. Okay, so this is the way it's going to look. Now, this isn't always the way it looks in the book, and you can change this by coming over here to the right, and you'll see this thing that says ribbon display options. If you click on this little down arrow, I like to choose classic ribbon, and when I do, watch the top of the screen, you'll see that it expands this menu. That makes it a little bit easier for me to read and understand. And if you recall from the first week, this entire wide area up here is called the ribbon, like a ribbon on presents. These areas here where it says clipboard, font, paragraph styles, those are called groups. And when you have one of these little arrows here, that's called a launcher. Where it says file, home, insert, layout, references, etc. across there, those are tabs. So when given commands, I will say it's on this tab, this group, and that's how you can find things quicker. All right. Okay, so we have this here, and I can actually split my screen so that we could see our instructions, but I think I can switch back and forth enough that it won't be too confusing. So I'm going to make my screen bigger here for you to see. So I'm going to go under View and under Zoom, I'm going to do Fit, and it just made my display wider to fit up my whole screen. That's so that you'll be able to see it a little bit easier when I'm typing on it. So what we need to do is we need to have this area up at the top, excuse me, this purchase order, and we need this information. Now, I have it in little boxes here in this grid. You can do that, or you have the ability to make it styled your own as long as you have all this information. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my document, and because I have the memory of a goldfish, I'm just gonna pull this down. And if you didn't know you could do that, if you grab a tab on your top bar and hold your left mouse, you can pull that down. And I'm just going to slide that out of the way over here. And that way I can get to it quicker. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I need to put at the top purchase order. Now you can put this on the left side, the middle, wherever you want. I'm going to drop down a line. Now, if I want to, on this area here, I could insert and I could put a table. And if I do table, this little grid pops up, and see how it lights as I move around. And it will ask me to light up how big I want it. Now that was 2 squares wide. But remember, I need to put in information next to my wording, so I would need 4. So I could have my title and my data. So I would go 4 wide, and it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then click, and that would create this grid. Now my items were vendor name, and then next to it I had over here ship to, and then below that I had address, and then I had a phone, and then I had a website, and then here I had another address, and then I had a contact, and then I had an email, and then I had a date. Oops, and I forgot the colon there. And with the different boxes, I didn't really need the colons, but, and then an email. Whoops, not an email. The next line, PO number. Okay, so that set up the grid for me. And then if I come down below it, now I'm ready for line items. And this had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, and we're going to do 5 items down. So if I do an insert table, count over, and you can see it actually keeps the count up above. So I do 6 by 5, click on that. And these items here were item number, then a description, then we'll add part/model, the quantity, a unit price, whoops, spelled that correctly, and a line total. And then underneath that, we want a grand total. So very quickly, we have managed to do a quick little purchase order using just a short couple of commands. Are there any questions on how this was created? All right. Then what you would do is you would go out there and you would find a vendor selling products that would work for your particular career, put in their name, find their address, phone. If they have a website, you could paste that in, put in today's date. For ship to, put in your school's address. You can put your name, put in the school's address, email your student email address, PO number. You can make a number up here. Find like 3 or 4 items, put in their description. If you can find a part or model number, put that in. Put in a quantity, find out what the price is, and then total up the price and put the grand total there. Any questions on how to do this? Everybody good? Okay, now this part's a little tricky here. When you go to save this, click File, then create a copy, then download a copy. Okay, download a copy, and you're going to save it. And I actually have a desktop one for demo. And I'm going to save that. Then when you come back to your assignment, you will click that green box and then choose your file. And I saved it actually on my desktop. And where was it? There we go. Right there's my file, and say open. You will see it right here, and then say submit. And then your confetti will fall. Yay! That's as close as we get to Mardi Gras. All right. Now it will check to make sure that it is a Word document. So again, please don't try using Google Docs, etc. Okay. Okay. Ariel, you have your mic on, just so you're aware. All right. Any questions on saving that document and uploading it? No, we're good there. All right. Okay. Any questions about this week's assignments whatsoever? Monday, unless you hear otherwise, we are not supposed to have class on Monday. So I will move the live lecture till Tuesday. I will verify that, but as far as I know, unless something has changed, we will not have class on Monday. You will have access to your assignments on Monday. That will not change, but the live lecture will not be until Tuesday. Nothing will be due until Tuesday. Okay. So, but you will still have access. So if you want to get in there early and work on it, you will still have that ability. Your normal assignments will still be due this week on Sunday. That will not change. And so, but again, you're not actually using Copilot. We're going in through Word. It's just that when you do that launch, I'm glad you mentioned that. This part here comes up as Copilot, but we are just going in through the app into Word. You do not have to use Copilot. This part says Copilot Chat here when you first go into it, but you are not actually using Copilot itself to do the actual assignment. So you don't have to do that. Okay. So no, don't go thinking that you have to use Copilot. Um, you don't have to use any of the actual artificial intelligence as far as that. That's just the landing page right there where you see Copilot. Does that make sense, Matt? I actually have Copilot turned off on the apps myself when I get in there. It actually causes more of an issue with me when I'm trying to work. Is that okay, Matt? Yes, no? I'll take that as a yes. Any other questions? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, especially in Word, Copilot is really awkward. Uh, they haven't quite got it as well as Copilot in Excel works a little bit better, I believe. But even then, it can be a bother. You can turn that off. If there's no other questions, we are done for tonight. Please make sure you do that week 1 evaluation for, yes. So just find any company you want that supplies things related to your career. Okay. All you need to do is find 3 items to put into that chart. Okay. Uh, do not overthink the data. That is the big one. Do not overthink the data. Make it reasonable. I'm not going to go check the prices. Okay. So please do not overthink it. The idea is to make sure that you can work well in Word. That's what I'm verifying. Okay. I want you to have practical knowledge because that's what you're going to have on the job. If I wanted to make something just astronomically difficult or something like that, I could, and I could be super picky. That's not going to help any of us. I want you to be able to get out there and work on the job and be able to do what you need to do. That's the important thing, right? Real world stuff. Okay. And the reason why I don't have you do a resume in here, a lot of you already have resumes or you're going to be doing career prep. And if you do career prep, you're going to do a resume in that class. So I don't want you doing duplicate work. All right. Okay. Any other questions? Nope. All right. So we are good. I will see you Tuesday unless something changes, and I will let you know that we are back on for Monday. All right. So watch for my text. Y'all have a great week. Be awesome. Thank you.